I don't know about you, but I'm getting particularly hit hard by these Epstein files. You see, in the late 80s, early 90s, I was a model with the John Casablanca Modeling Agency in Kansas City. And recently, I saw a documentary about the Elite Model Look of the Year competition. And I remember that competition. It was really what all the models were aspiring to be a part of. And now to see that that was judged by John Casablanca and Donald Trump and another that all had ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And it was a grooming process and a way for them to look for girls to prey upon. And while I never had particularly any negative experience per se within the agency that I was a part of, I had plenty of grooming and questionable advances and pushed into really uncomfortable sexual situations by photographers. So I understand how those girls could get pushed into situations they felt uncomfortable with, being gaslit that this is the industry, this is just how it is, this is what you do as a model. If this is what you're seeing in the photos, what are they doing behind the scenes? I was just too sensitive or too emotional or not mature enough to be able to handle it. I believed them that there was something not right with me, that I had a problem with the way things were, with the pushing into more and more explicitly sexual things. I mean, after all, we were selling seduction. That's what we did for a living. I remember one photographer saying to me, "Why is it always that it's older women that finally understand sexuality and step into their sexual power, but they're just too old?" Why? Because we're women now. And those before that you were trying to push into these perspectives that you think women should be, they were children. And this idea of beauty that you're pushing is children. And children are to be protected. This is our future. What future do you want to create? But it wasn't just the agents and the photographers and those in the industry that pushed this sort of sexualized narrative about women, that where women were supposed to be like children, and the younger you look, the better, and the more frail and fragile, the better. It was also an entire culture that pushed that viewpoint, down to the men that I would meet out socially who, once they found out what I did, felt like they had a right to touch me in certain ways or grab me in certain ways or to be a certain way with me or to own me, to try to somehow possess that seduction. Or the women who were maybe jealous, but they would become gossipy and vindictive and judgmental. Because when the feminine feels threatened or powerless, she starts using her tongue as a weapon and lashes out that way. Whereas with men, when they feel powerless, they use their force, their fists. So it was an entire culture that bought into this juvenile, infantile version of femininity that was brought to you by pedophiles. Those that have been setting conditions for feminine beauty and for what we as women should be are pedophiles. They're sick pedophiles who are making the rules and who are setting our cultural standards and telling us what women and even men are supposed to be in this world. Pedophiles. Well, my friends, now all of us overly emotional, sensitive types who were saying this isn't right, I want you to know you were right. And now it's the time for us to no longer marginalize ourselves and keep quiet and feel like, oh, there must be something wrong with us, so we shouldn't speak out and make waves. We shouldn't say this doesn't feel right. Now it's time for us to speak up and to stand in our truth because we were right all along. Their whole goal is to dominate and control the feminine nature, that creative, seductive, passionate that we all are. It's not just those in the industry, my friends. It is an entire culture that has been pushing and believing and being gaslit into believing that this is the viewpoint that women should be, both for women and men. It is time for us to stand up and say no more, to step into our seduction, our creativity, our power as women, and be that. Screw these men who want to make us children. We need to protect the children. Namaste, my friends. Step into it. Thank you for being here. Blessings.